MF Ghost by mangaka Shuichi Shigeno, published by Kodansha Comics, released January 11, 2022. This is the first manga I've read off of ComiXology Originals. Actually, I think this is the first manga of ComiXology Originals, not sponsors, by the way. From the legendary author of Initial D comes a racing manga set in sometime the near future. How does it stack up? Let's discuss. If you do enjoy these sort of reviews, do the YouTube thing, feed the algorithm, like, subscribe, and comment, and here we go. This is a manga, so black and white is the standard, but what isn't standard here is the inking. It really isn't polished at all, and somewhat surprising to say at the very least. It almost feels like webcomic level, and that's not really a good thing. No real sense of depth or anything, screen tones, not really. This is probably one of the weakest parts of the manga, which is saying a lot. No stars, which is kind of a first for my channel on here. The set of paneling and expressions follows what you would expect out of manga. That being said, it suffers from the amateur-looking artwork. The writer knows what he wants to put on the panel, it's just that it wasn't successfully executed. Half a star. The dialogue is pretty stiff, to be honest, or that's how I read it, and with the stiff expressions of the drawings of the characters, but you know, it isn't outside of what would be expected out of Japanese manga. The writing is fine, though, you know, some personality shows through, but that stiff artwork just takes away from it. So I'm just going to give it half a star, and I'm being negative, but at least it shows that my bias isn't just against American comics. Finding the missing father is a common enough storyline in Japan. You'll find one in every genre that they have. This character-driven stories lacks the somewhat close personal connections that you would find to expect. This has that bit of a fish out of water story too, since the main character, Kanata Rivington, is a half, you know, or how Japanese people say half Japanese, hafu, who lived outside of Japan, but it doesn't seem to be too troubling for him. We have romantic themes here, but no chemistry. I'm just going to give this a star on a technicality here. It is executed. Whether or not it is executed well, you know, that's a matter of opinion. Mine is not, so just star. The plot moves at a slow pace. Kanata Rivington moves from the UK to Japan to participate in a race to find his dad somehow. And it turns out he's a genius at driving. And the love interest, who happens to be the racetrack girl, is also in high school. It hits too much on the cliche marks. It may turn out more interesting, but for now it is pretty lackluster. I'm giving it a star because, you know, technically it is there. There just isn't that much there. So, yeah. 3 stars. This might be my lowest manga review. It might be due to the fact that the mangaka wrote Initial D, which was somewhat responsible for contributing to the racing boom in Japan, meaning that it was very popular, and one would expect a certain level of polish with that level of success, and that isn't here. Everything from the art to the story could have definitely used more refining. Now, I have noticed something with ComiXology Originals, or at least the 6 that I've read, including this one, and that is I only like one of them, and can only recommend one of them, which is All Nighter. The issue with the others included a lack of pacing and story, to be honest, and most of them had these ideas that I found to be unpolished. I have no idea why that happens. It is even more confusing in that these books seem to be rated highly. But I maintain that these issues that I have, you know, problems with are more to the objective views rather than catering to some sort of subjective standards. Hence why my stars and plus rating systems. If it hits that 5 stars, I will recommend it, regardless of how I feel about the book personally. The pluses, all they tell you is simply how much I enjoyed the book, and with 3 stars, it's obvious I didn't really enjoy this one. Now, if he chooses to continue this book, Shuichi Shigeno, it might be to his advantage to have a better editor and, a team to help refine his vision. But then again, with the success of Initial D and with the tie-ins with the anime, it's really hard pressed to say that he would even need to. After all, Initial D was super successful and popular. It has been reprinted multiple times and it has had several animes and the merch is there. So, big commercial success. But if this does continue, and I hope it does, it will improve, which I am also hoping. But right now, it really isn't worth the read unless you are really into the racing genre. In this case, it works better for ComiXology because they don't really have a whole bunch in the racing genre in their originals library, so I guess that's the silver lining. Okay, that was my review of MF Ghost. I hope you enjoyed this review, find it helpful. I hope you're having a good day or good evening. If you do enjoy this sort of thing, do the algorithm-y stuff. You know what to do. Thank you again, and ciao, everybody.